This is the all-new 2025 Audi Q5. Did Audi make the changes you were hoping for? Hey everybody, it's Tom from Vehicle Visionary. I hope you're having a great day. Today we're at Audi Shreveport in Shreveport, Louisiana, and we're going to go over the changes on this redesigned Q5. If you want to know more about this model or the other model we're going to be looking at in our comparison today, check out the links down in the description of the video. Now there is one very interesting thing that I want to show you before we move forward in the video. We're going to look at the window stickers as we work our way through, but you're going to notice that we have the 2025 version of the Audi Q5 with this window sticker. However, when you look at the interior, you're going to say, wait a minute, that looks like the outgoing version. And you would not be wrong if you said that. However, notice that this says the all-new Audi Q5. And obviously, there are some big changes on this model. Kind of an interesting thing that Audi has done here as far as that goes. We've seen other manufacturers do this kind of thing in the past, but I just wanted to make sure to clear that up before there was any confusion. As we look from the front end view on both models, the first thing you're going to notice will be the differences in the headlight design as far as the overall layout, where you're going to find your daytime running lights and just the overall design of the housing. You'll even notice that the turn signal indicator is larger here. It's a little bit smaller here, and it's moved down into this area. You'll also find active air curtains on the 2025 model. That's going to help you out with your gas mileage. You can see, well, I don't know how well you can see it, but the daylight through this area, hopefully you can see that. But that is going to be a big difference in the overall design. In addition to changes to the grille, you're going to notice that this area with the lower grille right here is a little bit smaller, a little bit more narrow than what we have over here on the all-new 2025 model, if you will. You will also notice, while we have some familiar design elements with the upper grille, that large upper grille, you're going to notice that it's a little bit smaller as well. Everything's going to flow as far as the front end goes between the grille, the bumper area, and the headlights on both models. But tell me which one you like more. We're also going to notice a wider side view mirror between the two models. Obviously, this is going to be the outgoing model. The turn signal indicator on the older version, a little bit more narrow, a little bit bigger as far as what we have here on the 2025, the all-new 2025 kind of. But obviously, having that wider side view mirror is going to make it a little bit easier to see things. Both models will have a panoramic sunroof and the roof rails. Big changes here on the rear, and you can automatically see what I'm talking about. Let me make sure I get far enough back here to show you what's going on. So we're going to have our tail lights that are only going to be in this area, as opposed to having anything going across right here as we have on the new updated model. I'm going to hit the button right there so you can see the lights a little bit there. And we'll have the exhaust outlets changing as well, so you can see the difference in the overall design as far as the shape goes where that's concerned. And we have narrowed things up a little bit right here in this area. What do you think about that? Some people are going to say it doesn't make a difference. Some people say I like it. Some people say, well, I don't like it. It just depends on who you are. And you will also see some differences with the rear roof spoiler. Here's what we're going to have with the outgoing model. And then with the 25 model, we're going to have a little bit more of a consistent look across compared to what we had on the outgoing model. The shark fin antenna changes as well. Just some of those different design elements that you're going to see compared between the two models. It's actually going to have a larger shark fin antenna here on the top of the all-new version. When it comes to overall cargo capacity, with the outgoing model, we're looking at 54.1 cubic feet. That's going to increase to 56.9 cubic feet over here with the all-new version. But that's not the only thing to talk about as far as changes go. Now, you're still going to lower your rear seats to maximize cargo capacity by pulling on the releases right here. You can also obviously kind of raise those back up. As you can see, it will release that. There's also a release on the side of each seat right there where the door is. But you'll also notice our cargo lighting. Now, I like the design of what we have with this model, although this is the older version. I think it has a more modern look. However, I also think that while we have a different design here and a different location for our cargo lighting back here in the rear area, that's going to shine forward and will actually do a better job of illuminating the interior after dark. We will still continue to have the cargo covers that are removable with each model. Very easy to deal with. Your power lift gates will be here. A lot of that functionality is going to stay the same. And when it comes to the new model, one thing I did want to show you that was also here is going to be the presence of the 12-volt power outlet. You will also find some changes when it comes to the fob, or the remote as some call it. This is the outgoing version, and you'll notice that the newer version is smaller, a little bit more slender, and we will have our buttons for everything in different locations, but it's the same basic functionality. One big change you'll find is that if you need the panic button, it's going to be on the rear of the all-new remote. And we'll start with the older interior first to show you what's here as far as the armrest and the door bin design goes. The overall door panel, you'll find the rear seat pockets right here, kind of a net style material, and something that's going to be the same on both models, and I'm glad that it's going to continue to be here, is going to be the ability to use this center seat back as a pass-through whenever necessary. Nice to take advantage of that. The sunroof will also remain the same, panoramic. It's going to have basically the identical design on both models. Rear air conditioning vents, and we'll find the ability to raise and lower the temperature. We have a 12-volt power outlet and a couple of USB outlets. And I'll let you know what the difference is once we hop in over to the all-new version. As far as how it feels in the back seat here, I'm very comfortable, plenty of room, no problems where that is concerned. And there are going to be some changes to report with the door panel on the all-new model. You can see the angle right here and how that has a little bit of an arch to it. Plenty of room again with the armrest and the door bin. We're going to have that exact same style of rear seat pocket, and once again, there is our pass-through. That's going to be identical, but I'm so glad that that is still here. The sunroof design, like I said, your panoramic sunroof will remain the same, although there are going to be some big changes to the overall controls where that is concerned. But you'll also notice changes here on the rear of the center console. The functionality will remain the same, but the design is obviously a little different. Our USB ports are now up here on the top, and you'll notice that you have the control right here for the third zone of climate control, dual zone in the front, single in the rear, and our air conditioning vents. You can obviously change your temperature, but overall, I'd say that the space does seem to be a little bit better back here in the rear seat of the newer version than what we had when we were sitting over there in the outgoing model. As of 2025, with the all-new version, you will no longer find the Q5 40. Everything will be the 45. That includes what's under the hood and the difference in horsepower and torque. Now, there are some differences to talk about for 2025 when it comes to the upgrades and changes. Prior years had 261 horsepower and 273 pounds-feet of torque. The horsepower will jump up to 269 horsepower, with the biggest jump being in torque, going from 273 pounds-feet to 295. You will still find the 7-speed automatic transmission and quattro all-wheel drive. And how about your gas mileage? 22 city, 30 highway, 25 combined, and check this out. 4 gallons of gas per every 100 miles driven. The functionality as far as the driver's side door will remain the same, but we're going to have a different look between the two models. We'll start with the older version. You can see that you have your power seats here, lumbar support. We're going to have the same features on the passenger side over there, and the thigh extension right there that is manually adjustable. One of the biggest differences of all is going to be the overall design of the driver's display and the infotainment screen. Here in the outgoing version, there's going to be a big separation between the driver's display and the center screen. So if you're wondering about the differences, we're going to get into this area right here and just show you some things. Here are your steering wheel mounted controls, your paddle shifters, all of those things that I think a lot of you are used to. You can also change the view depending on what you want with your driver's display. Pretty simple, but it definitely got the job done in the past. And then we had everything over here with our turn signal indicators, cruise control, managed right there. Here is the functionality for your front and rear window wipers, as you can see. And then right down here, everything for controlling your headlights, tail lights, all that good stuff. You can just set it to auto if you want to. And the infotainment screen. Show you what all is here. But I'll tell you what, I think we're going to have a much better look when it comes to the newer version. There are our camera views, at least a few of those. Your climate control, all of the controls here as far as the overall driving of the vehicle. Your shifter is going to be there. And our center console. We'll take a quick look inside of that area. There's our cup holders. And the good thing is that you can move that out of the way. Something else that will be quite different will be the upper console. As we look at the driver's side door panel, the functionality remains the same, but the overall design definitely does not. What do you think about having so many of the controls right here for your side view mirrors? Your child safety locks will be here. Somewhat similar to what we saw with the outgoing version, but just to show you what's going to be here and some of the changes that are going on. We'll also have that same thigh extension on the front of the seats for the driver and the passenger, and the functionality remains the same with lumbar support and our seat controls. We're going to hop in here into the driver's seat and reach right down here and hit the button to start everything up and let you see it all come to life. And how about the sticker price? We're looking at $60,500 on the new version. Let's see what else you get for that price. Here is a look at the design of the front door panels from the interior. You're going to see that it basically looks the same as the rear, just a little bit larger. We had the Bang & Olufsen sound system. I'll give you a sampling of that in just a little bit. But as we look across the driver's display and the new screen, you can see the big differences here. 10.1 inches with your center screen on the older version. This is 11.9 as far as this model goes. You can see changes to the steering wheel design too. Not a big deal. Everything is still here. You're still going to have your heated steering wheel functionality, something we don't need today. It is hot and humid here in Northwest Louisiana, but that is okay. Shifter paddles right here. And that same control for your front and rear window wipers and your turn signal indicator right here. Keep your turn signal fluid reservoir full so that works for you when you're driving down the road. And something else I'm curious to know about, were you wanting a change with the control for your cruise control where that is concerned? Did you want some, maybe a little bit different setup, something integrated into the turn signal indicator right there? Tell me what you think about that. And as far as the steering wheel goes, it is tilt and telescopically adjustable. You have the control right here. See if I can give you a better view of that. There it is on the side of the steering column. And then we have our driver's display. A very nice look as far as that goes. You can change the view once again, just as we saw with the previous version. That's going to be right here. It says view, so pretty easy to figure out what you've got going on where that is concerned. You can go and make other changes as well. So depending on what you need to do and what you need to change, you'll use the appropriate controls right here. It's pretty simple to figure out, so I don't think I need to show you too much where that is concerned. Now with the upper console, it is going to have a different look and a different design. Here's how you open and close the power sunroof. This is how you're going to open and close the shade. Obviously, that's where you open it. That's where you close it right there. Again, simple, self-explanatory things, but it's always nice to show people what's going on. And for those of you that need to know which direction you're driving, you're going to have your compass right there that lets you know that we're currently pointed towards the west. So if you wonder about that, depending on where you are, easy to deal with. I like that. Built-in navigation, something that people like to know about. Very interesting, but I'm glad that it's here. Nothing unusual. And then you'll see that you have your different clock views here. So depending on what you want to see and how you want that to look, you can do that. And then your Audi Drive Select, your driving mode selector is what that ultimately is going to be. And you can see that we have balanced, dynamic, we're going to have comfort, and then off-road plus. That's pretty cool. Pretty interesting to see how that looks. You can also see that you have a few things going on here. And as far as your icons go, this will give us a little bit better idea of what all is here. You can see several things going on here. Android Auto, Apple CarPlay. You can wirelessly pair your smartphone. You've got the store right there. Go into vehicle right here just to show you some of the things that are going on. The graphics are nice. You got your displays right there, everything with your lights. And something I didn't get to show you earlier, but I do like the fact that that light goes all the way across back there. That works very well with your exterior lighting. You control the exterior lighting or your interior lighting, depending on what you want to do. Your high beam assist is going to be here. You can see all of the different options that are going on. You can change to late, medium, or early, depending on what you need to do with that. And we'll go back here to the screen we were just on. And overall, here are the rest of your icons. You've got all of your different settings here, depending on what you need to do. You can go into favorites, warnings, if you want to set everything up here. Here's something that I know a lot of people like to know about as far as your safety features or driving aids go. You're going to have your traffic sign-based speed warnings, side assist, exit warning, fatigue warning, in case you get tired, right? Distraction warning, distance warning, and your manual speed warning. And you can see that you have some things you can change over here as far as that goes. I'm not going to go through everything here, but I did want to show you a few of the different safety features that are here and things that you can change. Like I said, we're not going to cover it in great detail, but it is here. It is worth mentioning. And something else that is worth mentioning, your backup camera and all of your different camera views that you're going to have here. You've got that nice overhead view right there, depending on what you want to see. If you want to maximize that, you can. And you will also find that we can come back here and bring that back. If your rear camera is dirty, you're just going to select that area of the screen right there, and you'll notice that it sprays some windshield washer across that area. Now, that's not the only camera we have. We also have our front view camera and our additional cameras. Quite a few views on and around the Q5. That's going to work quite nicely for helping you to stay safe out on the road. Now, one thing you will notice here, all the controls for your AC, your heated seats, your ventilated seats, all of that's going to be located right down there. What do you think about that? I'm always curious to receive your feedback. You can go in and see some of the other settings as far as the vehicle goes, connections, sound, display, all of that is going to be here. All I did was select right there, and then we can hit a few other options here depending on what we want to know about. But just so you can see what's here, we go back to our built-in navigation, and you can see that that can take up a lot more of the screen than what we had earlier in the video. That's what you're going to have. The overall design looks very nice across the dash area, and you'll have everything down here for turning the engine on and off. Your drive select is going to be right there, and you can push that if you want to change different driving modes. You can see that. So there's a couple of different ways you can do that. I do like that there's a physical control where that is concerned. And as far as the auto stop start goes, you'll notice that it says off right there. Make sure that you actually turn that off right there, down there on that area. When the red light is on, that means it's off. And you can see the volume button right here. You can also turn the radio on and off right there. And we have our wireless charging pad, a couple of USB options, and a 12-volt power outlet. And what do you think about the push button shifter? I'm curious to know what everybody has to say about that. Everybody's going to have their varying views. And while I'm using the cup holders as a sunglass holder right now, obviously that is going to be where your cups go. We'll get the sunglasses out of there for just a minute so you can see what's going on in that area. And you don't have the same setup with your lid for your center console, so you don't actually move that back and forth anymore. You won't need to do that. As you can see, the changes in overall design, the cup holders are in more of a standalone area, if you will, where they're not going to be concealed away by the center console lid as they were with the last version that we just took a look at. There is your center console space and the light that is within. The seats are very comfortable. You're going to have your bolstering built in right here. Quite a bit of adjustability built in there. There is the optional passenger display. This model doesn't have it, but it is 10.1 inches. Obviously, it would be in this area. And if you wondered about that, there's the answer to the question. That's why I'm not showing it today, because it's not here, but it is available. And here's that sampling I promised you of the Bang & Olufsen 3D sound system with premium sound. Hopefully this works well for you through my microphone. And yes, it is likely funny that there's a Range Rover on the screen, but that is the only video I have with music that is not going to get me hit with a copyright strike. But hopefully that does a good job of letting you know how things sound. Well, let's talk about driving this all-new Q5. Driving on a road that is definitely not the smoothest or the most well-maintained, but it's soaking up the bumps decently, I would say. You're going to have some good handling here, and a very versatile vehicle in a lot of ways because of that all-wheel drive system that these Q5s are so well known for. That means for those of you that live in an area where maybe you're still getting some snow, we're getting into late May of 2025, some of you may still need all-wheel drive, a little bit of additional ground clearance for your vehicles. You don't want to drive around in a sedan because of all the snow and ice that you deal with more times of the year than not. This is going to be a very versatile vehicle for things like that. But just basic daily driving will also be very well taken care of with so many great options and features. And the thing that I like here is, for me personally, this being a new system, very easy to learn and use the infotainment screen, so you don't have to worry about any issues where that is concerned. But keep in mind, there are going to be plenty of tutorials to help you out here to learn the technology if it's new to you and you're saying, you know what, Tom, I'm struggling with a few things. Tell me what you would like to see me do as far as any kind of tutorials go. Easy to see out of. You've got so many great safety features. The brake and the gas pedal are manageable. And something I did not mention earlier in the video is the fact that you also have a nice bright head-up display. And let's just step on it just a little bit. Not going to step on it too hard, but I'll say this. You definitely have enough horsepower to get down the road without any trouble. But don't forget, you have those different driving modes depending on your driving situations and what you need. But I'd say overall, the driving experience is very enjoyable. The seats themselves are comfortable. We're going to make a quick turnaround right here and continue our test drive. As you can see, a nice tight turning radius as well. Kind of give you a little bit of a sampling of that. I'm going to let this vehicle pass us up here, pulling a trailer. We don't want a video that gets a lot of views because of getting into an accident. I'd rather be known for being a safe driver. But overall, very enjoyable to drive. That nice large panoramic sunroof is also going to come in nice and handy when you want to let all of the sun into the interior. As I mentioned earlier, I think I mentioned this, that front portion will open. That's going to be that center button right here on the upper console if you're wondering how to do that. The hunt and peck method will serve you quite well with this Q5. Just push buttons and options. Whatever it is you need to know about, you shouldn't have too much trouble where that is concerned. It's very easy to wirelessly pair your smartphone using Apple CarPlay or Android Auto. The screen will give you instructions as you work your way through all of that. Steering wheel is nice and comfortable. I am so glad that we also have the ventilated seats here. It's not terribly hot here, at least not by Northwest Louisiana standards, but it is very humid. So I am very happy to have that feature available, helping me to stay nice and cool. And there you go, the all-new 2025 Audi Q5. Did Audi make the changes you were hoping for? Tell me down in the comments section what your thoughts are. I'd like to say a special thanks to my friends at Audi Shreveport. You're in Shreveport, Louisiana. If you want to know more about either of these models, like I said, check out the link in the description of the video. I would also like to thank all of you for being kind enough to give me the opportunity to give you a vision for your next vehicle. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to hit the like button. That's very helpful to me. Make sure to share this video on your timelines, if you would please, on social media so other people can see it. And if you haven't subscribed to the Vehicle Visionary YouTube channel just yet, please be sure to do so you don't miss any future videos. If you would like to learn about additional vehicles you may wish to consider purchasing, check out the video that's on the screen right now, and I will see you there.